All righty, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of J3U After Hours. Alex, how are you on this gloomy day?
I'm awesome, Chris. Real quick, we're gonna check to see if my mic works while I hit the record button, so that's great.
Do
Um, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay.
Now I can't hear you.
And now you can hear me?
Yes, I can. And your audio sounds fine.
And now you can't hear me.
I can now. Now I can't.
Wow. Well, guys, listen, we try to be as professional and as up to date as we can, but then we're just bodybuilding coaches, all right? Um, I'm not gonna invest a lot of my money into. I mean, that mic was like $100, and then I have another camera that was like $200, and these new lights Austin got me are like $200. It's like I'm trying here, guys, but also like bear with us.
Yeah, yeah. If you could like, comment, share, and subscribe, a little bit more incentive, right?
Yeah. So halfway through January already.
Hmm.
Um, what's new? We got a lot popping off.
Yeah. Um, I got hurt again, so
God,
that's cool.
Chris's training year's 60 years old.
Yeah, I'm held together with Elmer's glue and a dream at this point.
Yeah.
It was
Um,
too, man. I was hitting PRs all week, and that's the issue.
yeah. I think we should, but then how do you know? I don't know. I feel like any more than two PRs in a week, we're getting greedy.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like it's like we should know, hey, okay, we had a pull, we had a push, legs, we're probably let's not get greedy.
That's what happened. I had Smith machine military press 315 for 11, which is a PR, and then the low row I did 5 plates for like 12, which I think matched the PR. And then yesterday I was doing hip press. It was 10 plates aside. I didn't have knee sleeves. I got nine, which is like close. It's like NPR range, like it's touching that world. And then I was doing a back off, and I was like, well, I'll do 8 plates. Then I went, I'll do 7 plates, and the back off set beat me.
It's always the back off. Always the back off. Dude, and I'll have those moments where I'm training with like with Austin and like we'll bury a top set. And I mean bury it. And I'll get to the point I'm like, I don't think there's any benefit in doing this back off set that we're supposed to do. I'm just
Yeah,
like don't you just get to a point when you're training where you're like, what's one more? I'm not gonna get anything out of this movement. Like,
that's where I made the mistake. Is I think the top set was enough, but in my head I was like, well, we're here. The gym's busy. I know I have this equipment as mine right now. I also didn't want to have to unload all of the plates all at once. I was like, let me do a set. I'll unload some more.
yeah.
Yeah.
The set was your rest from.
Yeah, dude, because it's like there's not a weight tree close to the hip press. So you're taking
Yeah,
two
yeah.
plates off the side at a time and waddling them over, man. Maybe that's what got me. Maybe it was the instability of the
The walk,
farmers.
the
Yeah,
walking, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You do have a wide gait.
I do. I just walk like a toddler, bro. I don't bend my knees.
It's you don't. You just kind of glide through. But no one ever knows because you always wear pants.
Yeah, it's all hidden, dude. Oh shit.
Oh man.
We got a lot to get into, man.
Yeah, we did. So we had I'm calling it the Texas Tea. Um
Mhm.
and look, I'm not going to mention any names, client, coach, whatever, because that is something between them. It's literally none of our business. But I wanted to talk about it in a sense of, hey, this happens to coaches and to athletes, and like what we deem is appropriate and acceptable, and like, you know, kind of a not so much like fine tooth combing this particular incident, but like it happens a lot. And so, short summary, um, client does great at a show, gets a pro card, coach celebrates it, whatever. It's like a month later, and then there's like this big post, and then it's like all the toxic just things that said coach did, right? And obviously, like we sit back and we see, and like, you start looking down the list, and you're like, fuck, like it's kind of tough to some of the stuff I think like falls on the athlete. It's like, hey, like they made me take this drug, they made me, diet this. At the end of the day, like it is the athlete's choice, to agree to those things. Um, where I kind of felt was things were a little off was more of like the mental games and mental warfare of like, um sending pictures of other athletes doing the show and like, oh, you're gonna lose, or like stuff like that. That and I'll say this as a coach, there are some athletes that you can kind of dark side fuck with. But then
Yeah.
there's some athletes that you really can't. And so I think, and again, I'm not going to go into what was right, what was wrong. Like it's none of my business. But I just think there are boundaries and limitations that should be placed on from both the coach and the athlete's point. But like, what was kind of your take on it? And we'll keep kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, because there's a gray area in some of it, right? Like I would say where, to your point, as an athlete, we ultimately make the decision of yes or no when it comes to drug usage and what we want to do within that, right? I think it is up to the coach and their responsibility to present the good, bad, and ugly is around expectations of what those drugs are being utilized for, what we're paying attention to, lab work around it, so on and so forth. This coach obviously wasn't doing that, right? Like the where I say this is a no-no on the coach is unlabeled vials are being sent. You're just being told to take X amount of volume. We don't really know what the drug is or why they're doing it. If I was on the receiving end of that, I wouldn't fucking take it. So it's kind of where it's like, right? Like there's falter points in both of that, right? But ultimately, I think in this case, leadership wise, that falls more on leadership because that's very avoidable. Like with any of my clients, especially my female athletes, when we have those discussions, it's, hey, what have we used prior? Let's look at lab work of when that was around. What was your experience with it? Okay, we know this is a safe thing to use. Let's consider utilizing it again. Here's some other things we might consider. Here's the literature as to why we would use it, the logic behind it. Think about it. We do a follow up call. We talk about it at that point. If they say yes, great. If they say no, that's also fine. I don't care. I always lead with that. It's like, I don't give a shit. We just have to manage expectations appropriately of if we're going to go do a national show, we're going to have to do more if we want to keep up. If it's a regional show, we might be fine, right? The mental warfare thing, that's where it is case by case. Like I'm an athlete where I thrive in that, like in a very toxic way. Like if you were to send me some dude who's doing my show and you're like, he's going to beat the brakes off of you, I would fixate on that because I'm already doing that. Like I'm already looking for the people that I'm playing these mind games with myself of like, oh, they're going to beat you. The second I start like slipping on cardio, it's like, oh, well, they wouldn't do that. Like I'm already painting that, right? And I have athletes where I can kind of do that with, like AJ, for an example. He sent me a guy doing one of his shows, and I was like, put a target on his head, dude, and know he's going to try to beat you. But it's different when it's just out of the blue, like, hey, they're going to beat you. Like that's where we're just like bullying at that point.
Yeah. And to me, that was where that again, and I'm be completely honest, I didn't even read the whole post. It was a lot. There's a lot of accusations. I think we can always say when there's a disgruntled client or there's a disgruntled coach, the truth is always like the full real story is going to be somewhere in the middle. Again, and I'm not. It's not on us to say who told the truth and who lied and whatever. But I do think that was my takeaway with it was kind of some of those mental games of like, all right, well, that's fucked up. Because like even if like you go to a show, like we know there's some dogs going to a national show. Like if anything, I'm like I'm not trying to point that out. I'm just like, hey, look, like we're bringing the best us. Like our goal is to compete, stand next to them. Like fuck them. Like you said, put a target on their head and keep going, right? So yeah, I don't like that out of the blue. But that was the biggest thing for me that kind of like stood out. I was like, that's not okay. On the flip side, And my thing with this was like, dude, this could happen to me and you right now. Like any at any point in time, an athlete who wasn't happy with us or how things went could easily go on there and say a lot. They could say a lot of truths. They could say a lot of lies. They could say a lot of stretched truths. But my thing was, because there was a lot of, people going at the person and all that. It's like, I know for a fact, someone put some shit up about me, dude. My athletes are seeing blood, like they're coming for their throat, like so that also has to be expected. Like
Yeah.
you have to expect, like, hey, if I'm going to stir this up and I'm going to create some noise here, because not every athlete may have had that same experience.
Yeah.
And so while it is okay, it's definitely okay for you to feel it and voice it, you have to also be aware of like what's to come of it. My whole thing would be, whether it be right, wrong, morally appropriate, safe, unsafe, whatever. Like if it was me, I'd be like, I mean, we got your pro card. Like that's what you asked for. Like,
Yeah.
right or like again, like morals aside, right or wrong aside, that would be as a coach, that would be where I stood my ground. Um, but again, and that's like playing devil's advocate, right? Because we're on a podcast and we're like trying to go back and forth on it. But yeah, it was very interesting of like I think if it were me in that situation as the athlete, I don't know if I would have gone out and like said it all because we turned pro or whatever, but I would have definitely used it as like all right, well, I'm definitely leaving.
Yeah.
Though we all kind of take note when athletes leave a coach, like it's not normal to leave a coach after turning pro. So we all can
Yeah.
kind of infer some things went south. Um, but at the end of the day, dude, like we do live in the social media world, and that's something that, both the coach, like, dude, there's times as coaches, man, like I know if I'm saying something, I might not text it. But I'm like, yeah, like because it's the way it could be said and screenshot could easily be thrown out there and twisted and turned not how it should have been meant or vice versa. So or there's not full context of the whole conversation. So you have to be careful with that. And again, just like I don't know what the right thing to have done, what the wrong thing to have done, but it was interesting and I wanted to speak about it because it can happen. So I think my takeaway and just full story here is like, hey, if you're unhappy with how situations are going with a coach, you need to say it like fast and you need to let it happen. Like you're not stuck. Maybe contractually you're stuck, but if it's stuff that's like crossing into legal barriers, I'm sure you could find a way out.
Yeah.
And then as a coach, if you're dealing with an athlete who's just not giving you all locked in or whatever the case may be, where you feel you need to go to those extremes, we might need to pull back and say, hey, what are we really getting out of this athlete anyway?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree, man. I think it's there's so much gray area within it. Now, like in this case, contextually, you and I both background information and knowledge to the circumstances to kind of know if it's athlete versus coach, who's really kind of the fall man in this. But to your point, man, like you take anybody in this space that's disgruntled, and very quickly they can try to flip the narrative and dramatize things, you know. And that's where I think it's a challenge because again, from the like the drug thing, that's pretty black and white to me. Like that was incorrect.
Yeah.
When we get into the art of coaching and the means to pull from within an athlete, that's where it is a very slippery slope and it can be very challenging because it's the human interaction, right? And again, I remember I had an athlete one time when we did our consultation call, and I said, hey, like everything that I talk to you about is going to be led with respect first and foremost. As long as you respect me first, I will return that favor. But it's all coming from a place of care. Like I'm never going to say anything intentionally disrespectful, derogatory, whatever it may be. And they continue to insist, no, I want you to be mean to me. And I was like, no, because that's kind of fucking weird too. Like my clients know like I'm very crass and objective when something's objectively wrong. But in that case, if I would have led with that of like, okay, you want me to be a dick, very quickly that could have flipped and I could be completely the worst coach and the biggest piece of shit on the planet if they so chose, right?
Yeah, 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 man. And look, at the end of the day, you saying all that, and this kind of crossed my mind. There's a lot of athletes that think stuff that maybe is being done is normal. Like maybe that's their only coach, and maybe they're just like, shit, like bodybuilding is kind of extreme. Perfect example, you makes me like appalled and like you want to kind of vomit, but the amount of coaches that would ask clients to get the tan people in the tan booth to take check-ins of them naked to send them check-ins. Like, yeah, yeah, it's stuff like that. That's
Yeah,
no way, shape, or form normal.
yeah.
But if that's their first coach, they're like, yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, that's what the whole team's doing, you know? So I think that is where I'm glad this athlete and other athlete stood up and
Mhm.
spoke out, obviously, because hopefully it helps, someone else, like maybe they went through something really fucked up and they're scared to talk about it. Like I do think it does create a positive narrative going forward. Um, at the end of the day, though, like we also see a lot of like 90% of the time the coach is going to take the blame
Mhm.
for whatever reason. And so as a coach here, I have to look at it from both sides. And,
For
and
sure.
that's my biggest thing on it is like, hey, I've had a couple people leave over the years of coaching and like I know I could send screenshots and all this, like, hey, dude, like I saved you from this, I did you from this, like, but I'm sure they could be like, yeah, well, like Alex told me to do this and it was very unhealthy and he took me to this body fat and so like it just depends on who's selling it is kind of my takeaway on it.
Yeah, there's key aspects within it that are again when it's like, oh well, my coach had me on really low food and high cardio for prep. That that's normal in some regard. Like, yes, there are these one-off cases of people who genetically or whatever metabolically can afford to not have to do that. But when we're looking at it from like one, your coach should never cuss you out. I hear about that shit more and more. And there's a few coaches in specifics that I always hear from or about should be cussing you out. You shouldn't, if you have a legitimate fear of leaving your coach because of what they will say to you about it, that's probably a red flag. It's like trying to leave an abusive relationship and you're fearful of the repercussions. And then anything sexual based, that's a no-no, right? Like there's not a world where I need to see you naked versus in your posing suit. I promise you, that much makes no difference, right? Like that's fucking weird. Those are non-negotiables. Anything else is where it's like, there's a lot of context that needs to be provided within that.
Yeah, I'm trying not to laugh thinking of like what body fat could be being held in a bikini like that we're
Just like
and
in the micro cut, I'm like,
oh damn it, that just that little tailbone area we just
yeah, I was gonna say, tailbone's a little like that's fucking gross, dude. Like,
yeah, man, it's so fucked up. So I get it. I get both sides. Hopefully their situations calm down and they're both moved on and live have happily ever after. But I think at the end of the day, it just goes to show like, hey, you got to be aware of, when clients do inquire with coaches and they feel out, everybody like people on your team, if you coach them, are probably going to root for you, and if plenty of people are going to have a not so pleasant experience, some people are going to have great, some people are not really going to care. It's just like when we all go to a restaurant. It's like some people love it, some people don't care for it. But like the reviews typically are either really, really good or really, really bad.
yeah.
So that's just kind of part of coaching. But I thought it was an interesting topic.
What's the best way to tell if a client is actually committed?
Check-ins.
Check in, dude. I'll even start before that. Your fucking onboarding form.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
I'll take it a step before that, because we were at me and entail. I'm going to take a wild stab. It's not going to work out well. Very rarely does it.
So that
Right.
one,
If someone asks, like, you get a DM, hey, what does your coaching entail? That one, what, or first off, what do you charge? Probably not. Those are,
that, yeah, yeah. That it's when you follow those up with more in depth, like, hey,
Mhm.
what are you looking to do? Would you be free to set up a call? And they just hammer with, nah, just want to know your rates.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is probably not going to go down this rabbit hole. Um, but yeah, I think like, okay, let's say they're already the form itself is huge. I think everyone have to go back in and say, no, tell me literally what you ate yesterday. Um, but that's everyone gets a pass there because everyone does it wrong for whatever reason. Um, but once they're a client, you can tell just by when the check-in is turned in, how in depth the check-in is turned in,
Mhm.
and how there's a it's a at the very first, I think it's the first thing or maybe second thing you answer on my check-in form. Did you follow the plan?
Mhm.
Yes or no? So they tell me like first thing. And if I can scroll back and I can see and I can count up the no's a lot quicker than I can the yeses, well, you're not a good athlete.
Mhm.
Now, you may have whatever life, whatever this, whatever that, cool. But when I look at it from a bodybuilding perspective, and I'm a judge who's not going to care about your social life or your family life or your poor cat or dog, and I see no 7 times out of 15 or 30 times out of 50, you're not a good athlete. You're not. Now you may want to be, but you are not. And then too, like how in depth you are, and then can you do it over and over and over and over again? Are you burnout on your workouts every 4 weeks? Do you want meal swaps every 4 weeks? And I'm not saying those things are wrong, but
It's a pattern.
I'm looking at the patterns and I'm always having to like make it fun and make it exciting. You're probably going to be here for 10 years. And
Mhm.
that's okay. But like as coaches, we have to treat you like the upper echelon athlete. And I'm not even talking about like wins and losses. I just mean from execution standpoint. I have to ask them like, hey, you want any new foods? Nah, I'm good. Like, okay, well, just for the simplicity of like digestive health, like we need to not eat chicken year round,
Yeah.
But that is where I see the most.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. It's the fundamentals, and that's where, like, I know we both like, or I think every coach hears it at some point, but we have the comments about like, do you have favorites, or the conversation of favoritism. It's not that there's favorites. There are people who just simply do as we ask, and because they deliver, it is easier for us to then ask more of them or spend more time connecting with them as an individual, as an athlete, because we're not spending so much time trying to learn how to check in on time or on the right fucking day, right?
Right.
um, but rarely does it actually come down to the physicality aspect of that. It comes down to the execution aspect of it. Like, I would rather have a less genetically gifted person that just commits and dedicates to the process than someone who is. I've worked with some people who have like God's best gift of genetics and can't do anything with it and are truthfully terrible to want to deal with because they're not coachable, they're not committed, they're not making the process easy for either of us. And again, going back to it, if we circle back to the onboarding form, that's what makes all of this happen. And that's what ultimately allows you to be that physical phenom that you want to be. Because when we develop a plan, and obviously the app makes it incredibly easy to follow the plan. Again, if you tell me how many meals a day you eat, what time of the day you train, what food you like, what foods you dislike, I can then build you a plan that there's no reason you shouldn't be able to do it. Because at that point, it's, oh, sorry, coach, it's you didn't not follow the plan because you have 6 meals and you can only fit five in your schedule. You told me up front you can only eat five. I wrote five, right? Or it's, It's not, oh, I didn't want to eat this because it's boring. You told me you want to eat that, so I put it in there. And oh well, I train first thing in the morning. Well, if you tell me these things, then I can build you. Like, so we're not wasting weeks, right? Because you've already paid. You know what I mean? So that's why I always tell people when we first encounter is like the onboarding process is the most crucial thing for both of us because I'm going to spend a lot of my day writing this plan. And if I have nothing to work with and I'm taking just a holy stab at it, and then you circle back and say, hey, this I can't do, I now just have to rewrite you a whole new fucking plan. So we've wasted 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. And if it comes in, and again, filling it out, one thing's wrong was one thing, but like if you come in and you're not really following any sort of eating, the first month, 6 weeks, is just getting you on a eating routine.
Yeah, we're building habits.
Yeah. So like I'm, and it's something I'll get on check-ins. A girl did today. She was like, "Sorry for yapping so much." I was like, "No, no, don't ever apologize. Like, I've give me a novel."
Yeah.
The worst relative, right? But like the worst thing is like, anything else this week? Nope. How you feeling? Good. Like, well, okay. And maybe you are great. Maybe you are thriving. But I'm sure there's something that you could tell me um that is just I can infer to and be like, hey, well, that makes sense as to something you didn't think about, but me as the coach, I've seen that before. That actually makes sense of X, Y, and Z. So yeah, detail and communication. Again, we hone in on communication here, and it's. I think we need to no longer say communication. We need to say efficient communication.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there is, and this is where it's challenging, right, to speak an absolute to it. But there's a large space between how was your week good or bad, and bad because it was overcast today and I was kind of just felt kind of depressed, and then I ate a little bit off plan and then stubbed my toes and I couldn't do that. And it's like we only actually need the last four sentences, not the whole dissertation around it.
Yeah,
There's space in between that we kind of need to exist. And sometimes a little bit more is okay. Sometimes a little bit less is okay. But when it's consistently like one, where it's just like a one word answer, when it's a close ended answer to an open ended question, vice versa, every time gets old in either direction.
yeah, and and so again, I'll play the flip side. Sometimes after a check-in day of 23 athletes, and a lot of them are giving me a lot of yap, sometimes it's kind of nice to have a good.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I'm gonna put my role players where they need to be on some of those days,
Yeah. Yeah.
but eventually, I need you to tell me something else. Like I need you to give me something. But
I will also play devil's advocate. I'll use Carly Lewis as an example. Carly Lewis took an overall with her last year for her first season. Carly's been rocking with me for years now. That girl does not talk, period. Like for the first 2 years we worked together, I thought she didn't like me.
yeah,
I can go through my phone before we moved to the app, and she's maybe texted me 5 times in 2 years, and her check-ins are always good, and that's it. And I've just with her, it's like, okay, she's just like I've actually learned she's the most unbothered, stoic human being on this planet where it's always fine. Like everything's there's never a high or a low. It's just we're always existing in this space,
yeah,
which makes her a wonderful athlete to work with because she doesn't have these crazy emotional responses to things. But there's a difference because it's taken us years for us to learn how that works together. Because I also don't give her dissertations of responses because she doesn't need it. It's just like, hey, this is good. We're going to change this. And she goes, cool, dude. And she goes and does her thing. And I hear from her next week. But on the flip end, she's one exception to a very large rule where the reality of it is I need to be excited every time I talk to you, right? I need to be excited that you're checking in, that you're doing these things. When it's consistently like there just gets to a point where like, and I know you've dealt with it too, where someone's name pops up and you just go, all right.
Yes, and so athletes listening, it's not a reflection. Sometimes it's some of your best people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a reflection of good, bad, wins, loss, pro, amateur. But if you come on check-ins talking like Eeyore,
Mhm.
bro, that is the worst. That is the like, oh my God, because it's going to be something just negative, not happy, whatever the case may be. And as us as coaches, we're here like providing you with like what we think is a good plan. And usually it's not even like a reflection of the plan. It's just like, man, like they just aren't having a good time right now. Like I don't, I wish they would. But yeah, if you can just go into it with a positive mindset, to the point sometimes I'll make that those athletes, I'll say, tell me three things positive next week.
Yep.
1 week. I need three positives. Because I need them to get out of that mindset that check-ins are negative.
Oh, dude, I have one client in particular that I think of, and he's great now. I asked the question in the check-in form, like, what are you most proud of this week, fitness or non-fitness related? And every week it was like, I guess that I'm alive, or fucking woke up today. It's always, and I just finally was like, dude, get the fuck over yourself. You have to find something to be happy about. Otherwise, what is any of this worth?
Yeah.
And since seeing that mindset shift, like his workouts are better, his day to day is better, his physique is improved because he wasn't just constantly living in this like cyclical, like self-deprecating place by his own choosing.
Yeah.
Like you gotta have something to be fucking proud of. Like,
It like little like I'm excited the UFC comes back on next weekend. Like
mm-hmm,
I'm so excited for that. Like it has nothing to do with bodybuilding or my report, but I could say that. And then not only does that give the coach like something to talk about next weekend, but then also like you can kind of shoot the shit back and forth if it's like, oh, I didn't know you were interested in that. Like it
mm-hmm,
just it lets us in on a little bit, and sometimes you need that like outside stuff on like a coach needs that and an athlete needs that. Like it's a fine line of like, hey, we need to know the X's and O's and the little, strenuous stuff, but then we also need to like just kind of vibe out with us for 5 minutes and like we'll be in a good spot like long term.
yeah, yeah. What does training volume look like during a health phase?
So for me, health phases are when I start to try to implement some type of new training, like new movements. If I need to change up the split, I will. But it's really getting down to like back to baseline, like foundation level of training volume.
Mm-hmm,
That's going to be different from person to person, but typically, if their peak push was like 4 or 5 sets per movement, and maybe down to two or three,
yeah,
and then that's the time I plug in new movement patterns as well to
mm-hmm,
get them used to like doing it without drugs. So then
yeah,
when drugs come in, progression is just going to be linear, hopefully.
mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
about
I'll pull intensifiers as one means of like pulling out volume. And then kind of the same logic, either depending on where they're at in their timeline with movement patterns, either implementing new movements or um, I'll shift to where the main movers are further down in the exercise selection order, so that they're going in a little bit more fatigued. So that actually ends up being their stopper of like how much total load they can move.
okay. I like that. Yeah.
So we're still like used to what we're doing. I mean, everybody's different, right? Like I've got one that I'm working with right now where we're still plugging and playing what movement patterns she can do because she has club foot. So in her case, it's like we are just constantly trying new movement patterns to just figure out what sticks. But if I have somebody like who's been on a hot streak of a run with their movement patterns and it's just clicking, rather than just like pulling out the movement that they're like excited about and want to do, I'll just move it. And like if it's a Smith machine squat and it's movement two, I'll move it to like five. So
Okay.
then they go from maybe 3 plate or 4 plates of load to like 3 plates or 2 and a quarter, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And then as we put drugs and food back in, I'll move it back up. Like it'll move from like 5 to 3, three back to two over 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. I need to trust them. That's but like just so like y'all can listen, like obviously like two coaches on the same team, but like we season our food differently a little bit.
Mhm.
That's okay. Like we all have our styles, so that's
Yeah.
That's a good
But
takeaway.
either way, it's doing the same thing, right? And I think that's the
Yeah.
point, right? Is like there's no exact way. Well, I mean, it's all doing the almost the exact same thing, just in a different path, right? It's the same idea of like what diet we follow. It's still a calorie deficit. Like what he's doing is limiting load. What I'm doing is limiting load. We're just reducing overall volume and intensity. Um, that's just the way that I found it. Again, it depends on the person. I think their level of of I guess skill set within the movement pattern as far as familiarity goes, and then also their level of enjoyment too. Because like
Yeah.
if we get the case of hey, I'm fucking bored as shit of this movement, perfect time to do what Alex is talking about. Throw something away, put something in new, they get excited about it. They start getting stronger as they get accustomed to it. And then okay, then we move into a push phase. They get super fucking strong, they get super jacked. Um, essential supplements for enhanced athletes. What's your budget?
Yeah. Let's both pick three each.
Okay.
I'm going
I'm
nattokinase first.
okay. I'm going Tudka.
I'm going a high EPA omega-3,
I'm going Astrologus.
and I'm gonna go with ashwagandha KSM 66.
See, I just put myself in a corner because I was going to say N-acetylcysteine, but
You've got Todco, yeah?
yeah, so I guess it's kind of redundant.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Because I'm thinking we'd get done with this, we put our stacks together.
Yeah, because I want to get something like more hard, like lipid based. Um, I'm going to Heart Plus by Axe and Sledge. Use code J3U.
Ooh, good plug. Good plug.
There we go.
I would go with Carditone.
Mm,
It's a really good product. It's like step before telmisartan,
okay.
but it works for blood pressure.
Yeah.
Um, sometimes people can't buy telmisartan off Chinese websites, so it's a good.
That, yeah, like beetroot powder, like nitric oxide, obviously like L-arginine, anything in that camp, I think would be good. Baby aspirin too.
Yeah.
Um, trying to think of what else. I mean, it's really a game of what your budget allows. Because this is a case where I don't believe there's anything as too many like proactive health supplements to take.
Oh, you know what?
Mhm.
We need a D3 and K2 supplement.
Yeah, we do.
That
Yeah,
that would be, yeah. I think if you took like everything we just said before we started branching off, those if you had six supplements, that's a solid stack.
and then a variety of fruit and veggies in
Yeah,
every.
yeah, 100%.
Let's see if we will shift a little bit. If we were locked in a grocery store, could we finish every item in 1 year? Dude, give me a fucking month.
So here's the thing. Can we cook the meats?
We would have to, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That I feel yes, because I'm a picky eater, but I feel like you would handle all the stuff that I wouldn't want to eat.
dude. I'd sweep it up, dude. I'm good.
I think we'd be set.
Yeah, well, okay. I guess we also need to what store? Like Public. Let's say Publix.
Well, yeah, if it's Walmart, fuck no.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll die.
Publix, yeah, we could do Publix.
Yeah, I feel like.
I'm gonna chill in that bakery for a bit.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm gonna. Well, we're gonna take our time with her. Um, I think, dude. I think we could do it. And now I'm like thinking of my way out of my Publix. 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, we eat 5, 6 meals a day. Like we'd be,
Yeah. And if it's free,
yeah,
yeah.
I think we'd be good.
Let's see. A body part stalls. Do you do a specific deload for this? No,
No,
no.
no.
Um, I think like I'm going to use my arms as an example as they are moving from shitty to subpar right now. I've been doing with my current split, and obviously like Alex has looked at it, we talked about it, is I'm playing the game of seeing how much frequency I can tolerate an arm training on a weekly basis. I found that as my joints hurt, and now I scale back slightly. That's generally what I would say. You just find the frequency where you can start to tip over the edge of tolerance and then scale back slightly and stay there.
Is it a body part stalls or a movement pattern stalls?
With this body part stalls, if it's a movement stalls,
I would just swap the movement out, or if a movement stalls, I would swap the movement out, or I would find different rep ranges to play in. I would either get real low, like sub like 5, 6, or I would go like 15, 20.
yeah, because if what I will do is like I retaper myself. So like if I'm in a, let's say I'm like I can't beat an 8 to 12 or like a 8 to 10. Um, I'll do a week where I'll touch a 6 just to feel something new. Or I'll reset and I'll work in like a 12, 15 rep range until I'm PRing there, taper back to 10, 12 PR there, then taper back to an 8 to 10 PR there. Like
Yeah.
you either go up or down and you just work right back up. Um, but if it's a body part, I would say it's a look at we should also look at an execution perspective. Probably should start there. But once you find the movements they can execute properly, figure out how frequently you can tolerate training them.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
How accurate is your first impression of people?
It's pretty spot on, man.
Mhm.
Like what we mentioned the DMs earlier, or the onboarding process. Um, but if we were to take it outside of bodybuilding, I'm pretty, I'd say 85%
Mhm.
accurate. Um, yeah. I think the older you get to, the more you just kind of know. Like you get a certain feeling from people.
Yeah.
And you're like, huh, like like I was getting my hair cut the other day, and this guy walks in, and my hair my hairstylist, barber, whatever you want to call her, she's a badass. Like first day I met her, she's wearing a Kobe shirt. Like she can cut a fade. Like that's my girl. Don't fuck with my girl, right? So this dude comes in, and like you could tell like he's about to just be an ass, and like to the point where she stopped cutting my hair. And like so I'm sitting in the chair, and I'm like, does he do this often? And she's like, yes. And so I was like, okay. So basically the guy just walks in, never makes an appointment.
Mhm.
But you can tell she's getting uncomfortable and he's about to get loud. And so like in my head, like he thankfully left, but like I looked at her and I was like, I'm just gonna be honest. Like that was one of those moments where I was like, oh great, this is on me. Like I'm just I know I'm gonna have to get the fuck up out of the chair. And
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like I was thinking in my head, like, thank God you're here.
Yeah.
I was like, really? It's like that bad? And she's like, yeah. Like she's like, one time I told him I had an appointment like in 10 minutes, and he's like, okay, I'll wait, and waited for my appointment to get there as if I was like lying to him or something. So yeah, I was like, but I don't know if that's just me. Like I'm a very attentive people watcher. Like,
I think it's a dude thing, is what I've
okay.
realized,
Mhm.
right? Like, um, I think it's also just like it's also I think partially our both of our upbringings, like
Mhm.
what we've been around our whole lives. It's like you kind of have to be hyper vigilant in all public settings,
Mhm.
especially. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, it's just you. I think it's just like a fight or flight situation.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
the same way. Like, it's that's why I don't go out because it's like the whole time I'm just sitting there, just like observe. I mean, we've done it. You and I did it the one time we went out. We just sat in the corner and watched.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, yeah, it's so I was walking, this was over the weekend. It was Will's birthday. I was at his birthday dinner. We were at some like bougie hotel up downtown Birmingham, but like that's relatively speaking because it's Birmingham. And so like my car was valeted, but it was valeted like out front, but like down the street a little bit. So they just gave me my keys, and dude, like I'm full on suit, like walking back to my car, it's pitch black. There's I think I counted 11, you know. I won't say in a gang, but they were flagged up and just chilling on the side. Cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, I've worked security, you know, all different race clubs. Like I get it. Like I've been to El Sol's Mexican night, worked there. I've done some trap stuff in Atlanta. Like I get it. Like I've been there. Um, but it was that moment where like you start walking back to the car and I was like, okay, I know I unlock my car and I just touch my door, like the driver door. None of the other locks unlock. And then my gun's in the glove box. If I can just get to my gun, I'm straight. But I have this long walk and like I clearly don't fit in. Like I have a nice car, I'm in a full suit. And it was like that walk of just like I just started like, just chest up like I'm fucking Conor McGregor. And I'm like, all right, here we go, man. Thank God. I don't know if it's my shaved head or my ears, but like I didn't get, it's like sometimes you'll get like a little yelled at or like, oh, what's up? Like this
Hey,
trying to engage. Thankfully I didn't. But yeah, it was that moment I was like, oh, I'm so on right now. But that being said, I don't know how many people would pay attention to that shit.
you'd be surprised. Dude, I remember one time this was when I was in Savannah for my show like 5 years ago almost. And it was me, the girls dating at the time, my buddy Nick and his girlfriend, and they were all a little bit more Caucasian than myself, especially in their upbringing. And we had to go to a liquor store because like the coach I was with at the time wanted to use vodka to like dry me out. And so again, we're in like middle of nowhere, Savannah, Georgia. We pull up to this liquor store. It is barred, like barred windows type of deal, right? And I go to get out, and the girl I was dating was like, "Well, I'll come with you." And I was like, "No." And then like my buddy's girlfriend was like, "Well, I'll come too." And I was like, "You're 4'11". No. And then he also said, I was like, "All of you stay. I go.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Lock the doors. When you see me walk out, unlock my door."
Yeah.
And I've seen some people are just truthfully oblivious to the reality.
Yeah, and it's especially with females in those scenarios, it's because I've had like I think two where I've just given them the keys and like go get in the car. Like
Mhm.
because dude, like I'll go get stabbed before like something happens to them. But also like they're in the way of like
It's
what I'm scheming to do. So like I just need them, I need to know they're safe and away from the situation. And I'm good. Hey, look, something down, you just drive away, call the cops, whatever. But it's those moments like park the female you're with first every single time.
dude,
Um,
I have like a thing with gas stations like that. Like if I'm dating a girl, I'm like, you don't go to a gas station by yourself, period. I don't give a shit how
yeah,
nice your is by appearance. Like I go in with you or I go in by myself. That's the only negotiation.
yeah. Dude, yeah, and I just like I said, I just don't think people think like that. And it's not there's never a time that I don't think I'm ever scared. I'm just ready. Like I'm just ready. And
Mhm.
I've played 17 scenarios in my head. Probably none of them will happen, but you just like never know.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's like you got to be prepared, right? Like I would rather be in that frame of mind and be prepared if then be stay la vie and then get got,
Yeah, yeah.
right? What would you tell your 18-year-old self? Or what would okay, dude, how did you type this in?
I
What would you
copy and pasted what was sent to us, Chris.
okay, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? What would you say? That's the question. What would
Okay.
you tell your 18-year-old self?
What would you say your channel? Um, 18. God,
I would tell him he doesn't know shit.
yeah.
Doesn't need to
Just
act like
hold
it.
on, buddy. Just hold on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so that's so that like from a bodybuilding and coaching perspective, I would tell myself to wait to take steroids,
Hmm.
because I started at 18. Um, I would have honed in more on my nutrition and training better. Um, but from like a life perspective, I would have told myself it's okay to not be like everybody else. Um, I grew up like 'cause I was fortunate enough my grandparents helped my mom out so we could stay in a nice school system. But like, dude, I went to a very wealthy school.
Yeah.
like to a point where when people ask where I went to high school, I have to like preface the fact that like, hey, I was there like as a handicap, like I wasn't one of those kids. Um, but everyone went to Alabama Auburn, um, like 90% of them, and sorority, fraternity, and all that, and like, I would have just told myself like it was okay that I wasn't doing that,
Yeah.
um, and like genuinely like I wish I could just show my 18-year-old self now my life to like give me a little more like peace with that. Because back then, man, I never, I didn't really hang, like, I won't say I was embarrassed, but I was always kind of embarrassed by it.
Oh, dude, slightly different, but kind of in the same vein, man. I think mine would be one, like not feeling like I have to, like trying to feel so compelled to try to fit in with a crowd of people that, like, dude, I know none of them now, 10 years later. Um, but two, in the same degree, man, like I went to a nice high school because we got like weirdly zoned into, I think because my brother got grandfathered in, I got the option to go there. And I was in the same place where it was like a rich kid school and I was a poor kid and like didn't understand that, right? Like, and so it was weird trying to fit in with that crowd of people that wore like vineyard vines and pastels and shit, and I was not that kid. Um, but then everybody went to UT Knoxville. Everybody went to UTK. They went to UTC. They went wherever. And every day I would drive to school. I'd pass Pellissippi State Community College, and I'd flip it off every day because we all called it Shitty. It's where like all the fucking
Mhm.
degenerates. That's where I went
Yep.
because that was the option I had. I had to pay for my schooling. That's where I could go. And I was incredibly embarrassed of that, like ashamed of it nearly, because for 4 years I was like, I'll fucking never go there. And then that was the realities I had to go there, right? Like I didn't have a choice. Um, and I think the other thing too is like 18-year-old self, I think, hell, even now in some degree, is like thinking I thought I had to have it all figured out at that point, right? Like I had to know what I was doing and how I was doing it because at 16, I told my dad that like because my parents believed in corporal punishment and that worked for a long time until it didn't. And then they bought into like just taking my stuff. And so I started working and doing all sorts of odds and ends to like pay for my phone bill so they couldn't take my phone and pay for my groceries so they couldn't bitch about bodybuilding and bought my first car and all these other things. And so I remember telling my dad that when I was like 16, he was like, okay, if you want to be a man, figure it out. And so at like 16, it was like, got a whole lot of life to figure the fuck out. And I can never ask of them in that regard. So I think I almost took I took myself and I think I took life too seriously at 18. Looking back, I was like, dude, you should have just been like a dumb fucking kid for a little bit. It would have probably panned out, I would say, the same way instead of like putting way too much pressure on myself.
Yeah, 100%, man. I wish I would have had more fun with things back then, for sure.
Yeah, because I didn't get to do the college thing, and that's fine, right? Like I didn't get to go out and party and do all that shit, but like I also didn't let myself do anything other than work because I
Yeah.
was like, that's where I felt obligated to do. So I just had to start life a lot sooner. Um, That's what I would tell him. And like obviously, like it gets better. Like life's fucking cool now, thanks to all you guys. Um, if someone's overweight, should they focus on fat loss or getting stronger first?
Getting stronger and weight training.
I did.
Yeah, weight training burns so much more calories than cardio. Having more muscle mass, you burn calories at higher rate just sitting there. It's like your basal metabolic rate's higher. Um, the a lot of people think like, oh, I have to lose all this fat first, and then I'll focus on getting the weights. But like you can do both at the same time.
Mhm.
Um, look how long it takes to burn 300 calories on a piece of cardio equipment. But
Mhm.
then, look how fast it takes to eat 300 calories. It's not that fast. So my thing is like set up a good training regimen, set up a nutrition plan that is focused on fat loss and cardiovascular health. You're gonna lose weight and lose fat just from like lifestyle changes and working out, whether it be bodybuilding, CrossFit, high rocks, whatever, your body's going to have a big adaptation come its way.
I will have. Hopefully, we can get. If I can have Dylan, I love you. Put up a picture of where I started my whole journey because I was fat as fuck.
Mhm.
I've lost 100 pounds, gained 100 pounds, lost it again. Went through bulimia, everything between, and that was all just in high school. Um, I would say like in the beginning phases, especially for a lot. I think this is what also pisses me off. There's so many years of your journey in this that you can simultaneously put on body mass, put on muscle, and lose fat at the same time. You can do both. It's not that your body can only do one or the other. Especially in the beginning, your body can do both at a very adequate rate. That's what was my goal. I cleaned up my diet. It wasn't like I was eating chicken and rice. I just made better decisions. And I made a goal to break a sweat every day doing something, and it was always weightlifting. And I just got fixated on lifting weights and getting strong. And then I lost 100 pounds in 6 months. So I would say like strength is never a weakness, right? Like always have that pursuit, but ancillary to that, you just make adequate nutritional decisions so that you can also burn body fat in the process, and it'll work out just fine. Um, what age do we believe men's legs start to lose mass?
Mm, like overall size, I guess from like bodybuilding perspective, um, I mean, hell, Darren's 60 growing his legs.
Yeah.
Are they at the rate that Austin's growing his legs? No. Um, but I think as long as your like you may not have the same cuts at like 45 as you did at 32. But I think overall size, like I don't think you're gonna notice much. Like you may notice it at the Olympia, like Brandon Curry's legs are downsized or something, someone getting older. Like you may notice that, but I don't think it's a true thing. I think more than anything, you should focus on leg training and strength training in your lower half because like what I'm hearing is there's a lot of studies now that's correlated to like life expectancy and like how long you live to lower body strength. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you're person asking if you're looking to help anti-age, keep fucking training your legs, dude.
Yeah, yeah. It's in my experience of working with like elderly people, masters, competitors, everything in between. I think it's like a use it or lose it situation. Like I think as you get older, if you stop training or scale back training or start skimping on training, your body is more susceptible to let go and atrophy of that muscle. Whereas if you continue to find a different, and it might be just a different approach to training as far as like what's required to create stimulus, but continuing that pursuit will at least allow for the concept of retention. It might not always lead to like you're not going to get fucking Tom Platt's legs at 70, right? Like we can't have that expectation, but we can play the game of like either whether it's the pursuit of holding the line or inching forward. I think it can be done. It just might take a little bit more precision in order to do so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mint, T&E, or Halo for a PR. I don't know if it's asking which we would pick for a PR or the logic of using any of those in order to hit a PR.
Halo would be my first. Halo
Halo.
with mint would be pretty good. Um, T&E, I
I don't
didn't
like.
I got more intensity from T&E. I didn't really feel stronger. I got more anger,
Yeah.
and more like run through a wall. But Halo, I've grappled like on Halo, and dude, I just genuinely like I've just picked people up, like muscled my way out of shit. Like Halo's my favorite.
Yeah. I love Halo so much. I don't like T&E. One, I hate the pit. Two, I hate the crash afterwards. Like the 2 hour post training, emotional and depressed and whatever. Mint, I'm impartial to. I'm either going Halo or Halo, Super Draw, or Winstraw. Now we will circle and play devil's advocate. The logic of using any of these in order to hit a PR.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal, right? Is two PR.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but then again, like we're not power lifters. Like, what are we?
Yeah.
really trying to PR like that, you know. Now, when the boys coming down and we gotta, show out, maybe do all three, maybe
Might be
fuck
a
around and find out.
with the green tablet hanging around just waiting.
Yeah,
Um, it's like a win in Rome situation. That's for the show of it, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
I would not recommend doing this routinely. I'll just say that. I think for your overall liver health and everything else, it's probably. I'll also say if you have to use Halo every time in a PR, we might need to reassess some other
yeah.
structure in your program and whatever that may be. Um, what are you most excited about the UK?
Man, I just really want to say things like holiday, like I'm here on holiday. I really want to say that. Mate, I want to say mate. Um, I want to order fish and chips, though I don't even really think I'd like it. I'd probably just, probably just order it. No, honestly, I think just the whole experience, like being over there, being with some like high level athletes and coaches would be really cool. And just seeing what a different what's it called? Just like seeing what a different culture's like. Like pop into different coffee shop or restaurant and just see what it's like.
Yeah, I'm fingers crossed this passport gets here in time. Um, we'll see. Mine is dude from step one gas station. I got to see what it's about, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are they supposed to be good?
I just want to see what they have.
Uh,
Like, I wanna get an array of things to try
yeah.
out.
Yeah, I think that'll be exciting. And then isn't there what's the place called Nando's that everyone goes to?
Mhm.
Yeah, we got to try that. I don't know, really, I'll just go wherever Luke tells us to. But yeah, we'll raid some snacks and um but yeah, just seeing guys, you got to think like I don't leave Alabama. And like when I do, it's to another state and I see a gym and a hotel or an Airbnb and a grocery store. Like I'm not very well versed in traveling, so yeah, I think just seeing oh, don't they have those double-decker buses? Hell yeah. I'm curious to see what I assume the UK is like and then what it actually is.
We're just like they're bringing two of the dumbest hicks to
Yeah, yeah. Like why we're going there to teach stuff.
yeah.
So get us to the gym and a chicken breast and we'll be all right. But anything else, like, don't expect much.
No, no, I'm there for comedic relief, dude. That's why I'm pulling up. That's what I'm here for. Um, no, I'm excited for it though, man. Like I said, fingers crossed. Passport gets here in time.
This will be fucking hot air ballooning over there.
I'll start swimming, dog. Yeah, I didn't start the process soon enough. It's all been paid to be expedited, but we will. It's very TBD. So much like always, like Alex said, we'll know if Chris gets on a plane that he's coming. Until then,
Yeah, we'll just see him when he gets here, guys. He just because everyone always talks to me like I'm your keeper. Like when's Chris is like, I don't know, guys. Like
yes, is mine, dude. And you can ask me, and I'm like, fucking, I don't know.
we just when he gets here, we're happy to see him. We give him a hug.
Well, shit, dude. Is that it?
Is that it?
I think.
Yeah, I feel like we knocked him out. That was a good one. Yeah, we're trying to, yeah, that was a good list. Um, so guys, yeah, we've got a lot that we're going to keep trying to cover. They're now launching these on Tuesdays. So today is Wednesday. They will release this on Tuesday. We'll record next Wednesday. So bear with us on that turnaround. Um, so like obviously we won't talk about, oh, like look out for this weekend, but yeah, thanks for listening and obviously like, share, subscribe, bring your friends. Um, discount codes J3U, Accent
Mhm.
Sledge. Chris, you got anything else?
Hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube. Subscribe as well. If you're on Spotify, a 5-star review would be great. If you can share on your story and tag us, we love seeing that.
Yeah,
Other
yeah.
Uphill battle.
Let us know some giveaway options. Like
Mhm.
if you guys want to do a giveaway for shout outs, we'll come up with something for that too. So
Yeah,
um
we're coming up on like 30,000 streams. I think once we hit that mark, we'll definitely try to do giveaways. See if you guys can give us some ideas. Uphill Battle Code. Those are all my hats from them in the back. Code Chris to save. Jason's the best. I love you, smooches. And until next time, thank you for listening to J3U After Hours.